Hello, everybody, and welcome to URS. Once again, it is another season, and we are here for season 4. And it is time to start a brand new season with preseason. Before anything else starts, we have to get through preseason. We have to get through what things will look like entering the first round before we start things. I am your commentator, Ryan Ocon31, and today I am joined by Burning Man, and I am joined by you for the full season. Welcome along. Let's see if it shows that you're already included. No, it has not. Audio settings. Party audio. All right, what about now? Let's see.
And audio is now included.
All right, cool. I can hear you. All right, awesome. Yeah, tell the viewers how you are.
Well, hello. I'm good. Just been busy with work.
Yep. I've just been stuffed over the last couple of days. It's not been too bad, but it's gotten a little bad. So you'll notice it on the stream, of course. So that's to no surprise, of course. I'm just gonna give Fire King an invite because he'll be our only reserve for today. It looks like. We'll give him a minute or two, and then if he's not in by then, he can join by qualifying. As for a couple of things, Burning Man, let's get on to it. Brand new season's gonna have brand new tracks, a brand new schedule. We'll go through the schedule throughout the stream, but the most important thing right now will be the car changes. And last season we saw Pluto be our champion, and it was by the largest gap in URS history. A lot of drivers said, "Hey, he's in the wrong car," and that was a thing heard throughout the whole season, and it may be a thing heard now through Polo, who has joined Haas F1 team, replacing Pluto. He's one of our big changes in his last season of league racing. We'll see if he could fight for the championship or not. He's wanting to. He thinks there's maybe a chance, slim chance, but he would like to. Surfy will be his teammate. And really, between Haas and Aston Martin, they keep the same drivers, but they just trade cars. So I think that'll be interesting with how that goes, and we'll have to see how both drivers from each team adapt to their new cars.
I reckon Pluto's going to do the best because when I was in the party with him once, he said that he feels he can push a lot more in the Aston Martin. So he's
Yeah.
a lot more suited to the Aston Martin than he was with the Haas. And he won in the Haas, the championship. So
Another
if
slim
he's not
change.
suited to the Aston,
Yeah, exactly. Another slim change as well regards Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes. Florian Foley has been put to a reserve. QBR20 Joe takes over the Mercedes. He's not here today. He is the winner of the Austrian Grand Prix last season. So there you go. And you can tell them in updates to ready up now.
alright. Ready. And let's put another nice message.
There you go. That works. No, part of the other changes that yeah, no, part of the other changes that we were mentioning regards to Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes. I mean, we mentioned QBR20 Joe. He gone from Red Bull to Mercedes. Red Bull arguably being one of the faster cars. Mercedes, he's practiced with quite a bit since hearing about the change, and he's got really, really suited to that car from what I could hear. Obviously, missing this race, or this preseason race, is going to be something that hurts him in some form of way because he's not going to have the experience in a straight line with that car, generally racing around other drivers. How much can I overtake those other drivers? He's going to be on the back foot a little bit, missing today compared to the other drivers. So that will be a one thing we'll have to look out for in Mexico next week to start off race one with QBR20 Joe. Another thing as well is a couple of changes within the Ferrari Red Bull program. Thrasher, full-time now at Red Bull. He was a reserve for the last couple races last season. He suited the Red Bull pretty well, and he got into Q3 in this race last season with Mercedes, so who's to say that that might not happen today with Red Bull? As for his teammate, CJ, well, he started the beginning of the season last season, ended up going down to reserve, and then quit halfway through the season, and dropped down completely. Well, he had a gamer tag change with CJ, so he's looking for a new change, looking for a new way, and he's done that with Red Bull. He was in the Ferrari to start last season too. And speaking of Ferrari, Lojovic was full-time to end off last season. It was a big question whether or not he was going to be full-time this season because of the fact of lack of attendance from him. That was a big thing from him, but you know what? I've spoke to Lojovic. He said he's really ready for the season. And this is not his favorite track at all, by all means. But he's ready for the season. He's ready to be alongside Aaron, and he's ready to take on the fight. He wants to see what he could do. He plans to attend as many races as he can. So, you know what? If I hear that from him compared to last season, he seems like he's more ready than he was before.
Yeah, seems like maybe he's putting in a bit more time. Maybe he's found more time.
And that's the thing. Like, I raced with him before in GSR, and when racing with him, there was a lot of things he is still yet to learn when racing with him. Now, coming over to here, there's even more things to learn. And, with that limited amount of time of racing in the realistic cars around other drivers and stuff like that, obviously the 5-lappers help, the practice sessions help, everything you can do helps, because you got to be careful, especially at a track like this. We saw in last season's race, Kosteg misjudged the braking by just a little bit, hit the back of Pluto, nearly spun him out, lost him a couple of places, and then the same thing basically happened in reverse rolls, with Kosteg getting hit in the back. I don't think it was by Pluto, but that's the thing. You can misjudge things so easily in these realistic cars when it comes to the gaps you have to drivers. You could even just say braking just very little late and you hit somebody, where in equal cars you might not have that happen. And that all comes from the different straight line speeding cars, the different setups, different driving styles, everything else. And some of those you have in general equal league races with the setups, everything else. So that makes sense as to why you need a bit more time in these cars, and especially with the overtaking too, because I spoke to Pluto about the change with Haas to Aston Martin. Another thing he mentioned is like he does not feel he's as fast as he used to be, and this is just generally speaking. He said he doesn't feel he's as fast as he used to be, but he feels that he can defend so well and hold off people. But once they're able to overtake him, he can't overtake him back. Maybe in that Aston Martin, with what you said with that comfortability, Brennan, man, that may be what he may be able to find now being in that Aston Martin.
I don't think, maybe he did say. I can't remember exactly what he said when I was in the party with him, but obviously him saying he's a bit slower but better at defending in the car. I reckon that will probably balance it out, if you can say that. Like, obviously less speed but better defending, so I reckon it'd still be up there.
Yeah, exactly. And
But I'll be interested to see on how people can adapt to their new cars.
And I think this may be able to close our field together even closer. I mean, last season's qualifying at Austria with the top 17 drivers, the only drivers who set times, was all within 7 tenths. If you want to be exact, 0.699. So, it's a close field. It really is a close field from last season. Now, this season with new cars and everything else, how much closer is everything going to be? And that was only Q1, by the way. So we'll have to see how things go. Speaking of drivers, CJ is going to be the first one to set a time. You can tell he's taking it a little bit easy, but still pushing the limits. Doesn't want to crash the car. Wants to be very careful. He knows what will happen if he crashes the car. He won't be able to compete in Q2, but he made sure he has a good time to be able to compete in Q2. 5.9. And, we'll see the times improve, of course, throughout time. Aaron Ocon, the next across the line, yeah, he'll go right behind him. So, maybe even that just shows between the Ferrari and Red Bull driver how close things are right there. And even Kostec starting a lap. He was quite good in this race last season, I remember. But he spun out right out of turn 1, got disqualified because the game said you were blocking the pit lane. Well, you know what? He hopes to not have that happen this time. And you know what? He was, I think 6th, 5th at the end of the season in the standings, somewhere around there. Maybe 4th. So, you know what? Kostec wasn't all that bad last season. But the thing that was missing that could happen this season is that first race win. That is the one thing I think Kostec is looking for this season. And a lot of drivers are too. A lot of drivers are too.
I believe Kostec can get it first in this race. Season.
Yeah, I mean, well, take Polo God, for example. Polo God hasn't won. He's been in all my leagues for a combined 70-plus races, and he hasn't won. He's more desperate than anybody is. Talk about...
Imagine not winning.
you talk... well, let's go with Goggy then. Goggy had a chance at Singapore last season. Goggy had a chance to win there, and he bottled the chance that he had. Kostek comes across the line, and you know what? 5/10s ain't bad of a gap. Still pretty close to the front of the field. But, you know, the thing I was mentioning about Surfy goes fourth. The thing I was mentioning about what was it? The thing I was mentioning about Guggy. He has the most races without a podium in the league, and I believe that's at 25. And I wouldn't want to keep that record any longer, considering the fact that he's had many opportunities to do so, and the fact that, you know what, he's continued to race in that same car over and over and over again. He's raced in that car on 19 different occasions, where Pluto did 19 different occasions in the Williams, and by race 1, he'll have the most starts. If he starts in Mexico, he'll have the most starts in one car alone, and that'll be at 20 with that Alfa Romeo. Speaking of Pluto, let's watch him in the Aston Martin and see how the Sector 1 is, and see how he can nail a couple of things with this car. 16.4 in the first sector, that's 2/10 off of CJ, so, you know, you could tell in the straights he'll lose a lot of time with this car, but if he's more comfortable at pushing it, you know he'll gain it back in the corners compared to CJ. Obviously, Red Bull's really good with downforce, everyone knows that, they're good with straight line speed, so, obviously, he'll still lose time, but if he was in a Haas with a bad setup, a setup that he really didn't like, and he had no practice, that's just an example because I know he practiced a lot in the Haas, there's your difference. In the Aston, he probably doesn't have to put as much practice because he can easily push more. But anyway, final 2 corners for Pluto. Let's see what this time is going to be. Oops, the inside curb though, that was a little mistake from him. But coming to the line, it shouldn't be too bad, right? 6.2, he's ahead of Surfy, he's ahead of Kostek. So you know what? He's adapted pretty well in that Aston so far. First laps in that car.
Did Will invalidate there? He was just... Oh yeah, he had. Will invalidated. I hadn't set a time.
I'm going to go on board with Jab. Look at him, because second man in the championship last season, you know, the second place driver in the championship each season, has not gone on to finish better than second or better in the next season. So, you know what? We'll have to watch out for Jab this season, considering he finished second in the championship. But as for the middle sector, 45.8. No purple, but you know what? I'm interested to see how he's going to do around this track. I'm interested to see, because last season he was up there with the likes of Polo, Joe, all contending. Well, I mean, he wasn't near Joe, because Joe was out in front of everyone else by a decent margin, but Jab was second, battling for that podium. So I'm interested to see where he's going to be, and he's going to be fourth, so that's not bad. Interesting. Aaron Ocon also invalidated.
Pretty close so far. Obviously, this isn't like full pushing.
Oh, I know, and you know, you only have 7 drivers too. What's to say you don't have more drivers come out on track and it'll be closer, and there's your another invalidation by Aaron Ocon. But yeah, let's talk about the schedule. We got a yellow flag in the final sector. That's an Alfa Romeo. He's trying to get out of the way. That might be Sam Steed. He spun at the final corner. He had an incident there last season, which almost ended his race, and that was really close to the pit wall, that one last season. However, while we'll go on board with Joseph, yeah, let's talk about the schedule. I'm going to try my best to remember this off the top of my head. Burner Man, have a look at the schedule, see if I'm correct on all these.
Yep,
so,
get up.
Next week will be Mexico. That'll be the first round. And that'll be the first time URS races there besides preseason. Brazil will return there for the first time since last game. And that'd be the first time since Season 2, which we saw the amazing battle between Davis and Riles there happen. Race 3, Saudi Arabia. That used to be Race 2 last season. That's been on the calendar 3 consecutive times now. Purple for Milo right there. Round 4 will be Silverstone. 1 round later than last season. That ends the first third of the season. Then you have Portugal. That's the first sprint race. Round 6, I want to say, is Canada?
No.
Italy. Okay. Joseph goes fastest. That's a 5.8. And you know what? We're getting faster by the moment we go. So, yeah, Italy. After that, I think that's a round earlier than it was last season, so that's probably where I got confused. Also, another thing as well, after that, I think it's Canada.
Yeah.
Canada's after that. Canada returns to the calendar for the first time, also since last game. That'd be since Season 2. After Canada is Bahrain. That's been on the calendar every season. After Bahrain is help me out.
Is he gonna get it right? It's
Uh,
Belgium.
it's Belgium. Okay, well, you know what? That track does go under the radar for me. It's Belgium after that. Belgium for the second time on the calendar. Aaron Ocon, second fastest now, since we're talking about seconds. 10th race, France. That returns on the calendar for the fourth different time. Been on every season. And with that track being on every season, that means that it will probably be used in Season 5, considering it won't be on next game either. Round number 11 is Netherlands. We'll see that in the first time on the calendar in the league. Round 12, season finale, the second and last sprint race of the season, Abu Dhabi. And that will be the championship decider for the second time in the league. First repeating season finale. How'd I do?
Well, I mean, you did pretty good. You got, obviously, Italy and Canada mixed up. You forgot Belgium. So, if there
It's
are
not
any
too bad.
Belgians in the stream chat, then we
Apologies.
apologise
Apologies to you.
for forgetting about you, country.
Well, Matty Mumu has just gone faster than Pluto, and look at that. Only by about a tenth. So, you know what? The Aston Martin drivers aren't separated by too much, and they're not even that far off the pace either. So, you know what? That's pretty good by them. And also, we saw in Q1 last season the top four be within a tenth. The top five be within a tenth. The top four is within a tenth this time around. Polo God yet to set a time. He's not out on track. Thrasher's out on track for an outlap. How about Chungus? Let's go on board with him. Purple sector 1 for him. How about that? And considering a Williams car that does not have a lot of Australian speed, he's had to add on some more wing, find a bit more time. And you know what? He's done that so far in the first sector. Now coming to the end of the second sector soon here. What's this going to be? You know what? I'm interested to see as well. Chungus really found his form at the end of the season last season. He was able to put results together for the first time. F2, he's able to contend for the title. He may have lost the title, but you know what? He got a first race win there. Now he's trying to look for a first race win on an official series. But now as he comes to the final two corners, what's this time going to be? 5-8 at the top of the board so far with Joseph. And we have a close field, so you know what? Who's to say Chungus can't go to the top? He may be able to this time. He's going to go second. That is close.
Ooh, it's close,
and you know what? He may actually end up the season, and this is going to sound crazy when I say it, but he may end up with the most front row starts without even having a pole position. He has 6 right now. 5 from last season, 1 from the other season.
Ooh,
Thrasher's going to go
Thrasher.
around. Oh, he's lucky to not go any faster into the barrier. But he stays in the session, luckily. 2 Alfa Romeos are behind on laps. Let's watch... actually, Sam Steed's invalid. Let's watch Goggy. Is he in a lap? Nope, he's invalid too.
Got some valutations going on.
Yeah. How about Riles? Riles and
Thrasher
LP.
moving out of the way.
Yeah, how about Riles and LP? We'll watch him. But while we talk about this, yeah, Chungus has 6 front row starts. The most front row starts, yours truly, Ryan Ocon, 31. 8 front row starts. Sam right behind that at 7. Chungus at 6.
Big.
I believe Pluto's right behind that as well. I know, right?
Big. Of course, the owner has the best amount of front row starts. Big.
Joseph F1, he thinks is saying, that is it for me. I'm fastest. That is a done deal. Chungus says the same too. And speaking of Chungus, let's finish that conversation about him. You know, I have to say, 6 front row starts, 5 last season, 1 the season before. I mean, he has yet to get a pole, and he's been close so many times. Surely this season has to be his. Riles makes an improvement. He's up to 13th, 5 tenths behind. Not too bad. Polo God's on a lap now. Purple Sector 1. Let's go on board with him. But yeah, Chungus, not even a single pole position. He can even have the most front row starts, or you have it tied without even having a pole. But, you know, he's turned off ABS this season, so he's trying something different. And look how close he is with that ABS off. Maybe it's making him faster. Don't know.
I'll be interested to see then.
He might be more comfortable, and I know he's, you know, had a lot of stuff poked at him for it. For the AVS being on throughout the time.
Merchant.
AVS Merchant, right? You know, hey, we've called them. Oh, Polo got spins. Oh, and you know what? He spoke about the troubles with that car, the rear end. That may show the troubles with that car. He's yet to set a time.
Well, that was lucky thing to keep out of the wall before he was about to go flying into it.
We'll watch Thrasher while we're at it. Why not? He's on a lap. But continuing that with Chungus, you know, ABS off now. You know what? He said he may be able to feel faster with it. And you know what? When he improved his time trial times with ABS off, he actually was faster by about a tenth or two. And maybe it took a little bit because he was trying a bit more. I don't know what you could say about everybody with trying and the comparison. But you know what? If he's able to be second right now with ABS off, yes, it's only preseason. It's at least a step in the right direction. It's not showing. It's showing he's not going backwards. And that's the thing he doesn't need. He doesn't need to go backwards. He needs to make sure, all right, I can at least contend where I was last season, beat similar pace, whatever. And Thrasher spins!
Oh, Thrasher.
Don't block the pit lane, you don't want to get disqualified.
Gets out of the wall again.
I think Polo God's on another lap now. Let's watch. Oh, he slides! Oh. Oh, but that improvement with Chungus. We'll have to watch out. He'll be another one to see if he can win a first race. And speaking of winning first races, we'll see if Polo can do it. He's 7/10 off right now, but I'm sure he's just wanting to complete a lap at this point, you know? He's probably thinking, let me complete a lap. Let me maybe get to the pit lane. You know, he's not too sure on what to do. Riles retires in the pit lane. And yeah, Polo goes to the pit lane. He's saying, I'm going to put on a new fresh set, get myself in a Q2, figure out what's going on right now. Jeb says he's safe. Riles does too, and Aaron as well. So they think they're good. And Riles...
Starting to come down to finish his first lap.
Yeah, let's see what he could do. He was not doing too well last season in this race. And you know what? He's ready to get back to it, like we mentioned before. But, yeah, Riles thinking he's safe in 13th. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
It's very close.
He is very close, but is he just simply wanting to save tires for the race? I mean, why would he retire this early? I don't know. Is he thinking no one else can improve at all? Let's see, Lujovic. Final corner now. Down to 5th gear. Going a bit wide, but you know what? Comes to the line right now. What's he going to set? How about a 6-2? He's in safely for now. Knocking Lando to the bubble. Sorry, Kosteg to the bubble. Lando out. And an improvement from somebody.
Bubble.
Oh, that is right, the elimination zone. It is right there. He is on the cusp of elimination, Kosteg. So, that is something we'll have to watch out for.
It's very surprising to see when you see him compared to teammate Joseph first.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got to think Kosteg didn't really do the F2 season. He's not been on this game as much. I know the F2 cars do handle different, but you know a lot of these drivers are still up to speed from F2. So for someone like Kosteg, that may help. And there is a little bit of a slipstream for Surfy from that Aston Martin. We're coming to the closing stages of Q1 with a minute remaining. It is now or never to get a lap in. How about Polo got an out lap? How about Thrasher yet to set a time? How about somebody right there? That was an improvement. I believe that was Kosteg. There you go, 7th place. Kosteg. And that is within a tenth and a half of the front of the field. How about Surfy? Purple right there. He has never got out of Q1. And right now, I know it's only preseason, but this would be an accomplishment for him to get out of Q1 right now and make sure he is safe. The final 2 corners for Surfy. He says, I think all I need is a Haas to be able to improve and show my pace. Right now, he's coming off the final corner. He has shown his pace. He's going to go 8th. Next, across the line, is going to be that Aston Martin. Sorry, that is Pluto pitting. Matty Mumu's purple in the first sector.
Here comes Thrasher.
Yep, you're right. Thrasher's next. Is he completing the lap or starting one? He is starting one. Polo got behind, also starting one. So these two are also trying to get in their final laps. This will be it for them too. If they spin, invalidate, that is it. They'd be out.
Sam is around.
And that is not what he needs. He is 17th right now. Sam is going to be out at Q1 once again. Sam is going to struggle this week. Well, that's been moved on, and he has struggled to start Q1.
He may want to move.
He may get disqualified if he doesn't. Anyway, Thrasher coming through now. Kosteg, Surfy, they look safe. How about behind that, Matty Mumu coming across the line next in that Aston Martin. He could potentially improve compared to his teammate. His teammate did improve. Matty Mumu does improve, but he doesn't improve any places. Pluto improved, but he also didn't improve any places as far as I remember. The McLaren next across the line. Can't tell if that's Rowdy. Can't tell if that is Lando. It is Lando. How about Lando? An improvement to 5th place. Next across the line is going to be Thrasher. That was the Haas getting out of the way. That was Surfy. Riles out of qualifying. 5/10 behind. How about Thrasher, though? Can he get in and can he get anywhere near his teammate? Thrasher comes across the line. Thrasher is going to be out. Polo got, though. He will be in and he will be 3rd. And that is a close top 7 right there. Almighty close.
Look at that. In the top 11, all of them were under 1.6.
Top 15.
Obviously, Will only just under 1.6.
It's crazy.
That is insanely close.
And you don't have you have Riles who retired early. You have Thrasher who messed up on his lap surely. Sam Steed who made a mistake. You know what? Out of the session. Rowdy 4/10 behind, barely gets through. This is the exact thing we saw happening when we made the changes to the cars that were made. The field getting closer, and it has. Speaking of Lojovic as well, he messaged me during this session saying, I'm ready to get to Q3. Well, you got to get through Q1 first, and he is out right now. 4/10 behind, too. That is how close
Seems
it
like
was
someone
to get
spoke
through.
a bit too early.
Yeah, exactly.
That
is really close. Yeah, look at that. I mean, we mentioned the top 5 last season. How about the top 7? All within a 10th. Oh my
Impressive.
goodness. It is really impressive. I'm sure the drivers themselves are probably shocked. Well, I've seen late. People saying I'm too quick for Haas, Polo says. Well, you know what? We have yet to see everybody's potential. Who knows if he's too quick for Haas? But what we can say about Polo and the Haas is he definitely has closed up compared to where he was in the Aston Martin. And you know what? Pluto and Maddie thinking to themselves, hey, I might be out of Q1 constantly. They made it through, and they barely did too.
I'm still impressed by how close it is.
Lojovic, Riles, Thrasher, Sam, all out of qualifying in Q1. Only preseason, but Surfy is able to get through for the first time in URS to Q2. We'll be able to say that officially next week when it comes to Mexico if he's able to do so there. He is only got a best qualifying as 16th, Surfy does. Can you believe that? Even in the Aston Martin when he struggled last season. That much of an improvement to the Haas has put him in a Q2 by that much too. And he's so close to the rest of the field that maybe we can even say him as a first-time race winner this season, possibly.
I mean, if the field keeps being this close for quali in every race, other than just preseason, obviously, then it's setting up a very good season.
Well, I mean, the top 15 last season was within 6/10. This season it was within like what 4.5 tenths. So
Yeah.
you know what? It is a lot of hope, but the big concern from this, and you might see it more at this track compared to the others, but I'm not too feared about it for a track like Mexico or Saudi Arabia or Britain, because they always provide good racing. But take Brazil, for example, or maybe Netherlands. Maybe Netherlands because of how hard it is to pass there, or overtake, whatever you want to call it.
Oh yeah,
Same
I'm going to
thing.
be looking forward to watching the Netherlands race.
I will, because who's going to be bold and make an overtake? But, you know, everyone's out immediately. Does this mean there's rain maybe coming on the way? Don't think so. It looks quite clear out there, but wait, no. It's preseason. We put it as clear. I'm stupid. Whatever. Ignore
Yeah,
that.
a bit of a brave out there,
Ignore
didn't
that.
you?
I did. But you know what? That is something we'll watch out for too during the whole season. If everyone's out this early and they're so close, like you see it there on the mini map or the full track map, that is something we will be wondering. How much is there going to be? You know, rain is a possibility. I know. A little brain fart. I know. Blame me. But you know, with what I was mentioning with how close the field is, the concern at tracks like Brazil and the Netherlands really will be a matter of the URS trains. Is it going to be so close to where people really can't pass? You can't really overtake. I mean, that may be the concern. Everyone's so close together at certain tracks like that. I mean, Britain, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, those are tracks in this game that have proven to provide good racing no matter what. So only time will tell. But with this field, maybe it will mean qualifying matters just a bit more than last season. Anyway, Will Chromac, the first one to start a lap. We've not gotten any sort of hot lap commentary on this so far, so let's do it. He's already in the grass before entering turn 2, and then braking for turn 3, 16.4. Last season, this was the track he made his first start in the Alpine, losing the rear a little bit out of turn 3. He's got a car behind him, that is the Red Bull of CJ, right up behind. If he makes a mistake, that could be concerning for CJ. However, entering turn 4 now. Clips a curb anyway. On the inside, outside clips a little bit more. Now entering the inside line to find a bit of time to turn 5, and now the double left. To say that does know a little bit better, at least to how comfortable this lap is. Now as he enters the final 2 corners, what's this looking like for Will? You know, last season, first coming across the line, 5.8 was the time to beat last session. It is a 6.7 from Will, 6.1 by CJ, and a 6.1 from Kostag even faster. How about that? Behind that, make it. 4 drivers setting a time. Let's make it 5 behind that. Pluto, 2 tenths behind. You know what? maybe this shows something with Pluto. And I want to point this out. That he struggled in the Haas because of the rear end. Aaron Ocon, 6-0, top of the board. Maybe this shows with Pluto, he struggled with the rear end with the Haas, that he was able to maybe be farther behind than the potential. Like, I look at laps like Japan. I even look at a couple laps that he pushed earlier in the season for pole position. I'll take Britain, for example. I'll take races like Britain, just races like Britain. Races like Japan. Certain races he pushed Saudi Arabia to catch the front three. Certain races where it's like, that was the full potential he had in the Haas. Besides that, though, he could not reach his full potential. But he was still fast with it. Now with this Aston Martin, look how he is with this field. I mean, this field, yes, it's close, but he's not able to be too far off the top of the board as he thought he would originally when he got put in this Aston Martin. So I'm kind of thinking to myself that, you know what, it was not a bad choice after all. And you know what, Pluto might even be happy just having a little bit of competition here. You know, puts a new face out front, but it makes him... Yeah, exactly. And you know what? This shows sometimes gut feeling was the Aston Martin, but expectation might not be the same as gut feeling. And you know what? Some of these drivers had that with their laps, as we saw. Jebel MSU, by the way, went to the top of 5.9. I mean, you know the drivers are not 100% pushing it, but you know it's still going to be close nonetheless. If it was that close to preseason. I know it's only preseason. We can't overreact. But at the same time, we have to acknowledge that if they are pushing, if they are trying to get the most out of their cars, if they're at least making the most of what they can without crashing, they're getting data on their cars to where they may still be that close. And speaking of close, how about Rowdy TJ Boy, 5.8, top of the board for him, and he barely scored points here. Last lap incident for Blue Goggy, able to take advantage of it, scored points, and I spoke to him during the offseason, right after Abu Dhabi ended. He said, I feel comfortable with the McLaren. I might suck with the rear every, once in a while. But the thing he mentioned with that McLaren was the fact that I feel comfortable. I have no issue with it. But the issue for me, though, and this is speaking from Rowdy's perspective, was the unluckiness, the amount of lag outs. Let's take as well the amount of hiccups, whether it be just simple, stupid mistakes that he made. He mentioned it. He can reach his full potential, and if that doesn't show it, then I don't know what does. He may be another driver who, I wouldn't include him in a first win category just yet because he's not really led many laps compared to someone like Goggy or someone else. But Rowdy has been a contender for the podium, though. So as for something like that, that is something for him to think about. Don't overthink it if you're going to be on the podium or going to have a run for the podium. But think about it, though. Is this going to be a regular thing if I'm top of the board right now? Or is this just a fluke? So we'll have to find out. I do want to talk to one driver preseason who was knocked out. What do you think about getting GSR Riles in here?
It could be quite fun. Yeah,
let's do it. Why not? He's not a party himself, so you know what? Don't think he minds. Let's see if he joins us in the action. And you know what? He was eliminated by retiring early. I don't know if he expected that or not, but if he is planning a bid for the title, that may have to be something he thinks about. When to retire, when not to retire, because you don't want to do it too early, like he did right there. Blue Guggy coming out of the final corner now. DRS applied and coming to the start-finish line. It is going to be a 5.7, top of the board.
Voice went a bit high pitch there.
A little bit, but you know what? Yeah, well, you know what? New faces at the front of the field. That's always good to see. And I don't know if it was you who said it. Someone else said it too about new faces at the front of the field. That's going to be something we see.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice to see like different people always at the front. Seeing more of the, not really randomness, like just seeing that when people in the correct car are like close, it makes it more interesting.
Yeah,
going 3/10 faster.
Oh,
or nearly 3/10.
You noticed that? I was looking at the Twitch chat because I've not interacted with you guys a whole lot. My chat is just glitching a little bit. You had to expose me a little bit. Matty Mamu, yet to set a lap. How about him? What's he going to do in the Aston Martin? Can he go faster than his teammate? Can he get himself in the top 10? What's he going to do? Matty Mamu, 8th place, 7/10 off. You know, and that's the thing, you know. I know maybe not a lot of the drivers in Q1 are going to be pushing right to the limit, but some people who may have thought they're going to be safe really weren't, or barely were. That is exactly what could happen, and people underestimate it. A lot of the time, too. Just thought I'd put that out there.
Let's have a knock on with invalidation.
Turn 1.
Cost a lot of fun getting
third. Turfy 4th. Let's go on board Polo got it. I mean, a lot of people think he's going to be overpowered in the Haas. I can see why. I can agree. But let's watch on board with him and see if that proves it or not. Doesn't get any slipstream from the car to his right, but comes to the final 2 corners. Trying to push the limits, but be careful and not spinning out, because he knows how much the rear end could be a question. Polo God comes to the line, 3rd place for him. Joseph also just went 2nd fastest as well right there. So there you have it.
You know, talking about when you said getting slipstream from the car ahead. When all the cars first went out, CJ was ahead of everyone. And then he let the Alpine and I think Costa got ahead of him. So I think what he might have been doing was he was trying to see how fast he was with slipstream.
Yeah.
And I think I'm an off-course crash out.
Oh, well, that's not going to be good. Unless he's just retired.
Right in front of the pit lane.
No, he hasn't. He has crashed out. You're right. I was wondering
Right
because it's just it sat him at 10th place. Usually put him down, but he was already 10th fastest, so he could get knocked out regardless. You just need people to beat the time though, which could happen. We'll go on board with Chunga, see if he could beat it first, because he's on a lap now.
I mean, it certainly seems possible for people to beat that time, considering how close it was.
Oh yeah, definitely. And you know what? Even speaking about later in the season, Portugal and Abu Dhabi, the 2 sprints. Abu Dhabi being a finale as a sprint, that'll be interesting. Portugal was a good race back in season 1 and had a close qualifying, so who knows what that sprint could be like. Just the amount of points on offer and the amount of things heading into the season that I'm excited about. I hope you are too. I hope everyone is. I know Sam's excited to come back to the season, but he's not started off too well. You know what? I know I've got a lot of shit thrown at me for saying, oh, Sam Steed, gonna struggle this week. I know, I hate Sam, I do. I don't, I'm kidding. But, you know, the thing with Sam is, he did struggle here last season, and this is probably his worst track on the game. So, it makes sense. Chungus coming across the line, 5-6, he is gonna knock Aaron Ocon out. Polo God thinks he's safe too, by the way. No, with Sam Steed, it makes total sense as to why he'd struggle. This is a track that is a pad track. This track is kind of supposed to suit the car to some extent. And he's in an Alfa Romeo, he's on a wheel, and he's never been able to get things right here. You know, last season he had great pace in the wet. This preseason is supposed to be in the dry, and it is. I don't think there's actually going to be rain, then there's, you know, there's not, because we checked the settings, it's clear weather. I made sure it was. For preseason, it's supposed to be clear weather, but, you know, I had a little hiccup earlier in the session.
The game decided to force it to rain anyway.
That would happen, but... You know,
it does seem like a Codemasters thing to do.
With Sam Steed, though, it's a preseason event in the dry, and you know, I know I'm not wrong. It's just saying he was going to struggle, but I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to struggle for the whole season, because he's not. He has found pace. He just needs to put together the 1-lap pace and work on that in order to find something to make him excel in these races, because you know. As we all know, his race pace is really good. His qualifying pace back in Season 1 was really good. Season 2, he had, I think, 5 out of the 7 races he started inside the top 3. He was really good in qualifying, but he was also really much better in race pace. He just had a lot of things not go his way luck-wise in Season 2. Season 1 he did, but, you know, that's the thing. You need things to go your way. You need a little bit of luck in racing. It doesn't matter, you know, what the scenario is, whatever. You need luck to go your way. And you know what? Will might need it to get out of Q2 here. He starts a lap now. Kostag thinks he's safe, possibly? He might be. He might not be. I don't know. Anyway, Will Chromac, turn 1. Now, on the run down to turn 2, He's going to use all that battery, apply the DRS. Think about the line he wants to use entering turn 3. Chungus is third. He thinks he's safe as well. An improvement by a 10th for Will. So right now that improvement will put him ahead of Matty Mumu, but it would not put him in. Pluto, Matty Mumu, also on laps behind. Now as he exits turn 3 and heads to turn 4, he's going to try to clip a little bit of the curb. Finds some time entering turn 4. He hit the inside curve just a little bit. I don't think he touched it that time, but the outside curve he uses once again and ducks to the right side to find a bit more time for turn 5 and turn 6. And the double left-handers. The double left-handers, which can be so crucial on traction. So crucial in the rear end. Purple sector there. Got it stolen by CJ, I think, and now riding the curve all the way to the final 2 corners. Now setting yourself for the final 2 corners. The curb right here. Got to go to the inside curve. Can't clip it too much or you'll spin. Can't go wide or else you invalidate like that. Oh, you can't do that.
Ooh.
Now, Will enters the line. He should be good for another lap. He will be. CJ, though, goes third fastest. Behind that, that's the Aston Martin. That is Pluto. He'll be in, but he's not ahead of Kostek, who retired and thought he was safe. Jap thought he was safe as well, and he's going to be out of Q2.
A lot of people are getting knocked out when they think they're safe.
Unless he just wanted to start behind. Don't know.
Maybe.
Let's see. Who's the next one to come to the line? Lando, I think, is going to start a lap. Yeah, he will. Let's go on board with him. Currently 15th, and you know what? He said he thinks he can compete getting into Q3 in more races than he did last season, so we'll find out if that statement is true. And it all starts right here with the potential yellow flags that is Rowdy TJ Boy starting a lap here in the final couple of corners. But we saw the gap to get into Q2 at 4.5 tenths, 4 tenths really. Now, we're going to see the gap for Q3. How about Blue Goggy coming to the line right now? What's this going to be? Is this an improvement? I think that's a lap starter. Next to cross the line will be a Red Bull of CJ. Can CJ improve? No. Checkered flag, though. Checkered flag for Will. Will is out of qualifying. How about Lando, though? Coming to the sector split, it is going to be an improvement of 3 tenths. So Lando's going to have to continue to improve throughout the lap in order to get himself into Q3.
Oh,
how about
nice
behind
one.
that? Oh... I think that's the Aston Martin coming to the line. Sorry, that's the Haas coming to the line. That's Surfy. 8th place. Pluto pits. That is Matty Mumu behind. He's going to be out. Now Lando comes across the line. What's Lando going to do? Lando will get himself in and knock Rowdy out. If Rowdy can knock Pluto out, that'd be both Aston Martins out. Rowdy, an improvement by a 10th. Pluto has to retire from the session as he's entered the pit lane. Blue Goggy, next. He doesn't even have to complete the lap. But Rowdy does in order to get in. That gap could be 3.5 tenths by the time we end this session if he can complete it. Rowdy goes wide at the last corner. And now applies DRS on the run to the start-finish line. What's he going to do? Rowdy gets in and he knocks Pluto out. That is both Aston Martins out of qualifying.
Aston out.
And that's both McLarens in. 3.5 tenths.
Good.
Both McLarens are showing up and saying, we got something to show you. They do. They're into Q3 with both cars this time. How about that? Com also made a statement and made chat at the beginning part of car placements, and he said, get me out of this Mercedes. Put me in an Alpine. Well, you know what? I know it might be a dreadful car to drive, but you know what? He leads the session. Behind that, Joseph, CJ, Chungus, Polo rounds out the top 5. Goggy, Kostag, Rowdy, Surfy, and Lando. Behind that, out of qualifying, Pluto and Jab, both. Aaron Ocon's out, Matty Mumu is out, Will Kromek is out. And both Aston Martins are out. Jab, who made Q3 a consecutive 13 times last season, is out. It does not add onto a streak considering this is preseason, but if that were to happen in Mexico, that means that streak is broken. It's done.
That is surprising that both of the Aston Martins got down there. That was extremely close.
I thought at least one was going to make it through, but it's still a close margin for them to make it through.
Yet again, very close qualifying.
Joseph said, I used to be shit at quali. What happened? Well, you know what? This is what's happened. Q3. Twitch chat, who do you think is going to get through, or going to get on the pole position or the front row? Burnerman, who do you think?
Pole position in front row. Quite difficult to choose. Obviously, it's been so close. Uh, odd. I think I'm gonna go with Calm pole, and then a Joseph second, or maybe even the other way around. But yet again, it's so close to cool.
I know. It is crazy how close it is. I'm gonna say a Joseph Polo front row.
Oh, that'd be cool to see.
And maybe add Surfy up into the top 5 too. Surfy in a Q3 for the first time too. CJ, I think, got in back as far as Australia last season in the opening round. You know, I've not seen Pluto or Maddie say anything main chat wise. I'm sure they're at least happy that they're able to contend a lot closer than they maybe expected or anticipated, but they're probably not happy about being out in Q2, and maybe they're okay with it because it's only preseason at the end of the day too. Joseph, here we go. Starting the first lap and flying lap for Q3. Let's do this. Joseph applies to URS. Bless you. Now into turn 1. Joseph clips the inside curve for turn 1, outside curve as well. 4th, 5th, up the gears he goes. DRS applied. Now URS draining that battery. Down it goes, below 75%. Turn 2 right here, the left kink. Now braking right here. 16.2. So that is a good sector 1, but he goes wide at turn 3 in the braking. That's going to set him off though. Up the gears again he goes. DRS applied. ERS now below 65%. And on the run to turn 4, clipping this curb, I think. Yep, now, as he brakes, he clips the curb. Finding a bit of time. Now, outside curb here. Gonna try to go to the right side like Will did on his laps. Trying to find as much time as he can in that AlphaTauri. No inside curb there at the left-hander. The second left-hander, we might see it. Sector split, 45.6. No inside curb right there. That could be a death curb. Right side, a little bit of curb. Now, the outside here, left-hand side. For the final 2 corners. Inside curb again. Shifting down to 6th. Now the final corner. Trying to minimize as much of the track as he can and coming to the line with DRS applied. What's this going to be? It's going to be a 5.8. So, kind of replicating what he did at the start of Q1. There you go. You're right, Kostek did invalidate. Now CJ 5.6 for him. How about that? An improvement for him. Now Calm is next to cross the line. Calm is going to cross the line, and he is going to go 5.6. 11,000 separate the top 2.
This is already insanely close, and it's only the first laps.
And it's only the first 3 drivers. How about Chungus adding onto a 4th driver here? He is slowed down to start a lap now. Well, let's see what he could do. You know, a lot of laps we covered with Chungus last season were a lot of his front row laps. Maybe this could be a pole lap for him. Now, turn 1. A little bit of inside curb. More of the outside curb, though. DRS applied. Up the gears he'll go. 6th to 7th. Now, the ERS draining its battery. Now, left-hand kink. Trying to minimize the time. Surfy's going to go 4th fastest. Now Chungus using a lot of that left side curb. Lando sets a time. Not a good time. Polo God goes 4th. And Chungus slides! He's into the wall! Luckily, he was able to only get front wing damage and keep himself in this session. But that is just how much he is pushing for a first pole, even if it's preseason.
I guess it's still something you could sort of brag about getting a first pole. Maybe preseason, but still first pole, isn't it?
Right, exactly.
I mean, hell,
Exactly.
I'll be bragging. Never got a pole. Oh, Kostak's like that. Get him back in.
Now that Gagi is purple here, he just invalidated. Oh my goodness. Not what he needed, not what he wanted either. Ah. I muted for a second. I muted. Yeah, I muted for a second. My nose was acting up, so I'm like, you know what? I hope I don't miss anything.
He goes purple. 5 as well.
Oh, I was like, he going purple, and then I'm like, oh. As soon as I said something too about it, Lando into the pit lane. Let's see if we can get an interview. Who? Jab? How about Jab? We don't usually talk to Jab. What about Jab? Let's get Jab in here.
But I think one of the Aston Martin ones could be pretty good as well.
Yeah, if we have enough time, we'll get one of them. I don't usually talk to Jab. I usually talk to Pluto and Maddie, usually a lot post-race, but never during a qualifying session with Jab. I talked to Pluto once during Abu Dhabi with being out of qualifying, but let's get Jab in here. We've not got anybody yet to talk to. Is Gagi going for a lap? No, he's invalid. Never mind. Apologies. Joseph goes wide again at turn 3. More braking trouble. He's probably feeling a lot like Pure Gasly did to Japan with those brakes. But anyway, Jab, welcome along. Good to have you.
What's up?
How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Obviously not in Q3, but
I
you
know.
know,
I
doing
was gonna
good.
speak to you about that. Are you surprised at all?
Um, Obviously haven't joined this Williams in about a month since the season finale. Um, and I had the lap going, the first lap, but then pushed the limits a little too hard. I didn't think I was over the line, but the game, thought I
Thought you
was.
were, yeah.
Yeah. But then went for a second lap, and the lap was actually better than the first one. And I got to around the second sector, and then I had less than like 10% ERS. So all that time I gained just started going lower, lower, and
Oh,
lower. So then by the time I got to the final corner, all that time I gained just went away. So, you know,
yeah.
not
Even
much I could really do.
even last season's champion Pluto was out by 4,000. As for you, you retired. Did you retire thinking you were safe, or did you retire on purpose? In the pit lane, thinking like, all right, I'll just be out here at Q2. What was your mind when you went to retire in the pit lane?
Um, Obviously in this game, they don't have a system where you can just change tires and go immediately back out. And then, the team tries to roll you back in. And right when I was able to like switch tires, I had like a minute and like 10 seconds left. And by the time I got out the pit lane, and got around the track, the time would have probably been over with.
Hold on, here we go. 5-6.
105. So,
Joseph improves. That's top of the board again. Go ahead.
basically everyone was running 105, so I knew I didn't have enough time to get around. So I just retired and accepted my fate.
Last question for me. I'll see if Burning Man has any. How close with this field do you think it's going to be for you to contend for a first championship and improve on that second place from last season? And how ready are you for the season?
Obviously it's Austria, so the times will be close anyway. But there's a lot of contenders. Obviously Joseph, him and the Alpha Tire are like in sync, and he's gonna be a new challenger this year. And
Okay.
oh,
It was
oh,
a big spin. He
oh,
was improving, and he would have
yeah.
been fastest there if he completed the lap. Sorry, go ahead.
And oh yes, there's a lot of contenders. People are getting used to their cars. Polo God. I've been advocating to put him in that Haas, and
Yeah.
and look at him now. He's actually, he's competing. I didn't see him nothing last season. So I think it could be a very competitive season with like maybe like 5 people battling for the championship.
Yeah,
Like
that'd
maybe
be
even
cool.
more. It could be an insane season. Very close.
Could be anyone's game. Burning Man, before we get to the final qualifying laps, any questions for Jab?
Well, I like to usually do this with qualifying, and since it's been extremely close, who do you reckon's taking pole?
Well, I think it's taking pull. Oh,
Yeah.
oh. I don't know. Cons was about to get it until he had that spin. Um, I might have to just stay with Joseph. I don't
Oh.
know. I've been. He's the one person before season even started that I thought would be challenging me, Pluto, Polo, Chungus. I believe in him. No.
Fair enough.
Interesting. Have a good one,
All right,
Jab.
well, good luck
Enjoy.
for the race.
Hey, see you.
I know, Thrasher, you wanted to get a question out of that strat, but let's get CJ here. This is going to be a close one for Paul. He's 27 thousandths off right now. If we had enough time, we would have done strategy, but guess what? CJ, on the last possible lap for him, and you know what? He gone out early to think, hey, I might have enough fuel, and if I invalidate, I can still go for another one. He might have just timed it right. A 10th up in the first sector. Here comes CJ. He's trying to get to a 5.5. We saw in that last session, I think, a 5.4, so it is possible. Now, on the run down to turn 4, how is he going to find enough time to get home? Even if he makes a mistake throughout the rest of the lap, how can he still find enough time to be even faster if anyone else improves? Oh, the driver's on track, looking to start laps. Both Haas's have started laps now. Next up is a McLaren starting a lap. That'll be Rowdy TJ Boy, but at the sector split, it's a 10th up, and it's almost a 10th and a half up, so he'll be, right now, if he completes this lap, a 10th ahead of Joseph. Now, the final 2 corners, it could be a 5.5, it could be a 5.4, maybe a 5.6 if he makes a mistake. The final couple of corners, the last 2 corners, the last corner for CJ coming to the line. What's he gonna do? It's gonna be a 5.1. Oh my goodness, he found lots of time in the last sector. Unbelievable.
That's the fastest
Is
time. Yeah.
anybody
Right,
gonna
what a
beat it?
second.
Com starts a lap. Goggy, I think, is starting a lap. Yes, he is. Let's go on board with
Sorry,
him.
quick question. Did you see if Kostag actually rejoined when we invited him?
If not, I'll send him a quick invite. I
Okay.
do not know. I did not see if he rejoined. Let me just
Wasn't
make sure,
invited again.
just to be 100%.
I saw it like that. I didn't see whether
Yeah.
he rejoined.
Well, now we have more drivers coming to the line. Next up's the Haas. I believe that might have been an invalidation from one of them. That might have been Polo, unless it was an improvement. However, Goggy's backed off. Rowdy comes to the line. Rowdy's going to come to the line. What's Rowdy going to do? Rowdy's going to go 5th fastest. Next up's the Haas. That's Surfy. Is he going to do anything? No, he's not. I think Lando is starting a lap now, and this may be the final driver to... No, excuse me. Joseph would be the final driver to start a lap if he can get back to the start-finish line in time. Lando starts a lap. Com is up next. Com improves, but he's just so close to pole. 29 thousandths goes front row. Next up,
This is mad.
Joseph is starting a lap. They are trying to find all the limits they can. Next up's that Alfa Romeo. Lugagi starting a lap. Or sorry, finishing a lap, but starting one as well. Lando, 0.2 of an improvement through the first sector. He's going to have to find 2 seconds in order to get himself onto the front row. Possibly even top 3 if he's not going to be front row. The Haas is going to cross the line now. No, that's the pit lane for Polo. Next up to cross the line will be Surfy, but the McLarens follow suit. Lando, not using that inside curve there, but now at the sector split. 7/10, so that time is going to have to come in the last sector. Surfy crosses the line now. Surfy goes 4th. It will be a top 5 for now. Next up is both McLarens. Rowdy's 1st, Lando 2nd. Rowdy invalid, but Lando is keeping it valid. Lando's getting a slipstream, and now coming to the line. Lando is going to go far. 6-0 just behind his teammate. Behind that, Joseph is next. And so is Goggy and Chungus. Joseph will be the first one to cross the line. Can he go faster than Com or CJ? Right now, crosses the line. What's he gonna do? 5-4. He can't do anything about it. Next up in the Alfa Romeo is gonna be Goggy. Goggy crosses the line. It's a 5-5. Chungus is next, and he is improving by 10 seconds, but he has had to pit. He's made a mistake. And that is it,
What an
CJ.
ending. Look at that.
Preseason pole.
Well, at least I got Com right about being at least in the front row.
5-1 flat. That is close. And you know what? I'm still thinking to myself too. The possible improvement that could have happened from Polo, the possible improvement that could have happened from maybe even Rowdy if he didn't validate. Take Chungus, for example. What if Kostag got back out there? It still could have been closer. Not trying to discredit anything with CJ. Good job for him taking a first pole in preseason. But still, just incredible how many drivers had a chance, but the mistakes made sure it was only the top 2 who were within 0.3.
Well, that was safe to say extremely close.
Polo said, Surfy has out-qualified me. What has happened to me? Well, here's your top 10. CJ and Com on the front row. How about the Red Bull Mercedes, a track that is supposed to suit the cars? Well, when it comes to the Red Bull Mercedes, they're top 3 in car performance. So you know what? Front row for them. Joseph, Goggy, Surfy round out the top 5. That's interesting. Polo. Then the 2 McLarens. Chungus and Kostag did not get to set a lap. We'll have to see if he's in the session or not once the formation lap is underway. Close qualifying.
I'm sure I've invited him like twice.
Yeah, I've invited him as well. If he needs another one, he should be able to get back in. Hopefully the game does not do any silly BS and disqualify him. We would hope that does not happen.
The annoying thing is, I know that happens quite a lot if you join during the formation lap.
But the game
Or
likes
just
to pick and
DSG.
choose who it does it to, too.
Hmm.
And that's another issue with this game.
The game must hate me then, because so far I've had a 100% BSQ
Record?
rate from
Yeah.
that happening. See?
I'd say uninstall the game at that point, but you're still doing commentary, so I can't say that.
I'm going to have to take your advice now.
Oh no.
Say goodbye to F1.
Oh no, oh boy. Not good. Well, here we come with the timer. It's counting down. Drivers are, making some adjustments to their fuel. Maybe car setup if they didn't like what they had in qualifying. Maybe laughing at main chat if you're looking at it.
Yeah.
I've not seen what happened. Oh god. Let me read this.
A comment on main chat.
Oh. Okay. Good to know. Here we go for the formation lap. A little slow getaway. But anyway, let's have a look at the tires. And before we go over any favorites as well, let's go over last season's preseason. Last season's preseason had short qualifying because of how many drivers showed up. It also had a front three breakaway and a good battle with the last lap. And also wasn't really able to tell who should be in what car. A couple people disqualified on the formation lap, but now with this field, more drivers, everyone else, we might be able to tell who should be in what car. However, this is still a car track. And with this being a car track, my first favorite is going to go with CJ. Returns to league racing. Nice return to be on the pole. Is he too fast for the Red Bull? I don't know. Time will tell. But a good performance to be on pole position so far. Good for him. I'm going to go more so toward the back of the field. And I'm going to go with Matty Mimo because for some reason, 14th place, I know he's not usually too good on starts, but something tells me that he can improve a decent bit of places in this preseason race. As for tires, the top 3 on mediums. Goggy is the first one on the hards. Then you have Lando and Chungus in the hards. The rest of the top 10 on the mediums. Pluto on the hards in 11th. Burnerman, your 2 favorites.
Well, 2 favorites. Gotta go with Joseph. He's very good. I believe he's pretty consistent. I think he did very well this race. And then also going towards midfield, I'll go with Pluto because he's very good at tyre saving, so I reckon he can make those hards last a long time.
And that was a spin on the formation lap for Cobb. I don't know what happened, but they're now lining up to the grid.
Yeah, Pluto's pretty good at coming through the field. I love watching the people line up. Just see if anyone places it sideways on.
Here we go. Here we go. Here come the lights for this preseason event. Kosteg's been disqualified already, but here we go. The 5 red lights, they're going to rev it up. The roar lights out, and away we go. CJ side by side with Com off the line. Com got a better traction. He's going to be side by side, maybe ahead into turn 1. Com goes ahead, and challenging him is CJ. Oh, we got a slide from Com. That was close. I think there's some more slides behind that, causing a bit of a stack up. But now the top 3 are all within 2/10 entering turn 3. Oh, Joseph to the inside right here, side by side. Oh, there's making contact. That makes it a little bit of a stack up behind, making contact between Paulo and Goggy. And behind that, they're all jockeying for position. The McLarens trying to find out who they want to duck and slipstream with Rowdy. And a big battle here, 2 wide and almost 3 wide, entering turn 4. Side by side between Chungus and Goggy now. The McLaren and Rowdy getting ahead of Pluto right there for the moment. And Pluto gaining places, Matty gaining places. But with Kostek's disqualification, we won't get to see his pace so far for preseason. Oh, side by side. Oh my goodness, they're still keeping it side by side between the 2. Pluto and Rowdy. Now we're entering the final 2 corners. They're going to be side by side again. Rowdy on the inside line, Pluto on the outside line. They stay side by side. And how about Pluto around the outside? Can he do it? They make contact. He's around. That's unfortunate for Rowdy. He's got damage now. Well, that was amazing action. They were able to keep it side by side there, but unfortunately that was resulted in a spin.
Unfortunate start by CJ there, losing 2 positions in the first lap.
And now diving down the inside, Aaron Ocon's gonna go. Oh, he's had contact with the 2 cars behind of Lando and Riles. Lucky enough not to get in a sandwich right there. Now Lando and Riles trying to go side by side right here. Lando's trying to back off, not to run on the cars in front, but Riles also trying to make a move down the inside. I think he's got in the back of Aaron right there. Oh, and that's collected Lando. There's got to be damage, and there is. And that's the Thrasher around.
Jesus.
He's out. Sam's
He's
also
out.
got damage as well. That might bring out a
That'll be a
VSC.
safe. Oh,
Surprisingly, it hasn't.
or nothing.
He's in the middle of the track. Oh, that's crazy.
What the hell? Right, so apparently the game thinks that's just completely safe.
Well, calm. Leading lap 2 now. Ahead of Joseph, ahead of CJ, ahead of Polo, and that 4-car breakaway at the front. Then behind that, they've got a whole big train from 5th on back to about 11th. Rowdy got damaged there. He had to pit. I think Sam's staying out, though. Yeah, he is. Behind that, Surfy and Chungus. Surfy with a straight line speed, able to get by before turn 3. That might have been a bit of help with the URS, though. Ahead of that, CJ Joseph also still running close to one another.
CJ is keeping this quite close. He's slowly losing time, though.
And let's look at the positions gains now. 1 for Com, 1 for Joseph, 2 for Polo, 2 lost for CJ. A little bad start from him. He had a little bit of a slide with the line, and then another slide after that. Gagi lost 3. 5 gain for Lojovic, 4 gain for Maddie, 3 gain for Jab, Pluto, and Chungus. So you know what? The back marker cars are able to gain more places off the start. We're able to see, I guess. We'll have to watch out for that in the regular season. Anyway, fastest lap for CJ right there. And that could still change. It has Surfy. Now Lojovic with a 3-second time penalty for track limits already on lap number 4 of this race. He had a lot of penalties in this season, this race last season. I guess the same thing is going to repeat this season with Austria.
Poor CJ was looking for a dive there, but
I thought so too, and maybe Jab was too, but he was a little too far back. He's in a sandwich between the Aston Martins, and I find this interesting because in the Haas, these 3, I should say, were always close to one another. Now with them being the Aston Martin, they're close to one another. This is interesting to see. You know, with Jab being farther back.
Literally just right behind Com.
Oh, you're right, he has closed up. I was looking at Jab there for a moment because Jab had closed up to Pluto. I thought he was going to run in the back of him, but he didn't. With Jab, though, the thing is, Jab, Maddie, Pluto, all 3 who were contenders at the front of the field for almost the entire of last season, and the moments it counted, are all running 8th, 9th, 10th, and you have a different front 4 right now. Com was up there on certain occasions. Joseph was up there a decent bit, but he was not up there as much because of the bad luck. CJ return into the field, up at the front now. Com with a slide out of turn 1, and Polo God, who was up front at this race and Japan last season, and you can maybe add in Bahrain, is now having a real taste of what it's like of being in the front of the field, and now Joseph is maybe trying to for a move at turn 3, has to be late on the brakes, can't make the move just yet. However, CJ's going to try the switchback. He can't get any traction off turn 3 to do so.
It looked like CJ was looking for a dive at one point, but it was just a bit too far back.
He was maybe also trying not to hit him too, because he also didn't want Polo hitting him either.
This is extremely close between all of them so far.
And even 2.8 seconds back, Surfy has got Chungus right behind, who's broke away from Gagi. Now GSR Thrasher out of this event so far in preseason. Just unfortunate for him. He also competed in preseason last season. He was out of the session early too. So, you know what? It is unfortunate for Thrasher. Being full-time this season, it is still a long season to prove what he's got.
It seems like Com is struggling out of the corners. He seems to be sliding out of the corners.
Surprised Joseph hasn't got past now, but maybe the second DRS straight maybe allow him to get past, especially with that slide out of turn 1. That may allow it this time. And CJ also closing in with the slipstream as well. We could see 3 wide if we're not being careful enough, but Joseph staying back, maybe thinking for a dive, can't go for the dive. CJ still right close to the rear as well. And Polo God also following suit, waiting for something to happen between the top 3. And now, Joseph on his run down to turn 4. He is a little bit closer than he was last time at turn 4. Can't make a move this time. CJ also farther back that time at turn 4.
You very nearly hit him. I think that's why he lost a bit of time there.
Also, we had a swap between the 2 Ferrari teammates of Lojovic and Aaron Ocon for 11th place. Also, another thing to mention is Gagi has caught up to that train now, with Pluto and other cars following suit. Chungus, before he broke away from that train, he can't break away from it now. And that gap between Surfy and Polo, the 2 teammates, staying very consistent, 2.8, 2.7 now. So I'm interested to see between those 2, you know, if these front 4 keep battling, does Surfy close up as well. And he's able to break away from Chungus before he closes up.
Seems like Com's starting to get used to maybe the car handling in the corners now. Because he isn't sliding as much anymore.
Well, you know what? Joseph
Seriously.
didn't overtake him when he maybe could have once or twice. But he thought better of not causing a collision, being safe, being patient, you know. And that will be the long-term gain of the season. However, is he going to be patient this time in a turn 4? He is not close enough whatsoever. On the URS, though, all below 15 or 50% there, and that is Sam Steed out. Is this going to bring out a safety car? It is yet to so far. I think he lost it there out of the double left and then the right after that. And unlike the others, this time he was not able to keep it out of the wall. And keep it in the race, and there's Com around the same corner, and he's now got no front wing.
The front wing is gone.
So the same thing happens, and now you got a new race leader. He is now rejoined in 12th place.
Let's see if CJ can keep on going in there.
Let's see if Com pits. I mean, he surely has to, but Sam Steed stayed out there. Oh, yep, Com does pit. He had a bit of front wing damage, so he had a little bit of trouble to get to the pit lane, but you know what? Top 3
his entire front wing was gone.
I know, but Sam had a bit of damage, and he stayed out the first time, though, so I was interested to see there. Here's a move now in turn 3. Oh, to the inside line. CJ's going to go. And he was lucky enough not to hit Joseph. I think Paulo hit the back of him. He was trying to not cause a collision, but also go for a move. Behind that, Gagi and Chungus going for a move. Going to be side by side on the exit of turn 3. Pluto and Jab waiting in the wings now. And Chungus has to stay behind Gagi, but Pluto won't want to stay behind him to the outside line now. Chungus moves under the brakes, I think. Oh, they're touching again. And Jab has a chance at the inside line now. Side by side with Pluto on the run to the double left. Pluto has the inside line. Jabber on the outside. Jab cannot hold it there for the moment. He had to back off. Surfy has left the session, and he will need another invite to the session.
Yep, got it.
I will get it too, just in case he needs a separate one. There you go. So with that CJ and Joseph thing, it's definitely hurt CJ and hurt Paulo a little bit. I don't think Paulo got any damage, but he did run in the back of him slightly. If the damage was not on standard, I'm sure Paulo would have some damage right now, but lucky enough he does not. CJ now is closer here. This Red Bull has tons of straight line speed.
He's got
a lot of URS that he's using. He is trying for it this time. Joseph runs wide at turn 3 right there for a moment. Made CJ think about it, but CJ runs under the curb, which loses him tons of time right there. And now Paulo gets close behind him, but he is not thinking for a move at all yet.
I think CJ got a bit worried there because he went for the dive, but then broke like he wasn't going for the dive.
Yeah,
I reckon he could have braked a bit later there.
it was like a little bit of indecisiveness from him. He didn't know what to do. Blue Doggy now behind Surfy, who is still not rejoined the session. Getting by him right there.
Joseph loses it.
Oh no, and that's a second person to do that in that corner from the lead. And guess what? He still stays within the top 3 right there, somehow.
However, Polo is right behind CJ now.
So this is now gone from a 4-car breakaway to a 2-car battle.
And if there's anything to go by, it seems like CJ may be the next victim in that corner.
Oh, jeez. You'll have to give Surfy another invite, but while we do that, we're going to watch his teammate Polo try to go for a move. This time it's the left side before turn 3. How about turn 2, the kink? He gets by before DRS, meaning CJ will be the one to have DRS now down to turn 4. CJ thought of a move on the exit of the corner at turn 3, but still is going to stick behind Polo. CJ with the slipstream. He's going to go to the left side this time, trying to make a move right here, side by side, around the outside. He gets the move done. Polo also thinks about the long term as well. And thinks, hey, you know what? I've seen 2 leaders spin right here. I'm not doing it now. Don't want the lead in that corner.
He's going to let CJ bite the bill at first.
Matty Mumu, Surfy. Position swap right
I
there.
haven't invited Surfy again.
And the trend does not happen there this time. But you know what? Still staying close to one another. How about Aaron Ocon, Surfy? A position swap right there. Surfy down to 10th.
Another thing again. I'm not sure what's going on.
Well, I will quickly invite him before we get to a battle before turn 1. We'll have a battle maybe down to turn 2 now. Another thing as well to watch out for will be, surely, the medium tires wearing off, the hard tire guys switching to the mediums. Obviously, if you're on the mediums, you're going to switch to the hards, but, you know, they'll be a lot slower.
Oh, it's another spin.
That's calm in that
Calm
same
again
corner.
at the same
Yeah,
corner.
exactly. That's the thing. That corner's catching people out. I'm
Corner
surprised it
best.
hasn't. I'm surprised it hasn't with Paulo or Surfy in the race. It did with both of them in qualifying. I'm pretty sure. In that corner, it caught them out. And any car that has trouble on the rear end, it will
Calm
catch
again.
you out there. Yeah, there you go. He's definitely got rear wing
Calm is
damage. There.
stuck.
He's
Calm is
stuck.
beached.
He's stuck.
He's
There-
got to
there you go.
reset.
And he may get a
Oh,
penalty
wait.
for it.
Wait, he's wiggled free.
But he may get disqualification
Managed
for
to
blocking the
wiggle
pit
free.
lane. No, he didn't. All right, impressive. Well,
That's actually kind of him. Oh, I think he's got rear wing damage then.
yeah. Aaron Ocon, 3-second time penalty. So both Ferraris with the penalties. Front two, 3-second breakaway. And the front three also on the mediums. Calm
Yeah,
out of this
calm
race.
down.
That was rear wing damage probably.
Well,
As for
obviously,
As
that's
for
it.
4th through 8th, they're on hards and they'll be switching to the mediums. Another thing also that was not mentioned and will be mentioned and enforced for next week, we forgot about it. Well, I should say me forgot about it. Was in regards to the waiting time before launching in. It's approximately 90 seconds to 2 minutes. My fault for forgetting. That'll be enforced next week at Mexico. It would have been nice to have it enforced this week, but it was not. And another spin at that same corner. This time it's Rowdy.
Wonder if CJ's going to get the curse.
Well, as the
He's gonna
tires
up to
wear,
it.
the more likeliness it could happen. And you know
So
what?
far, seems like
Overtaking
CJ and Polo have this corner down.
CJ is usually able to, I would say, with the downforce he has in his car. Polo, not so much. We saw struggles from him in that corner in qualifying. He's now being more easy on the limits, I think, with this car. And you could see it now.
Even with DRS,
CJ.
look at that. He lost quite a bit of time to CJ there.
I know. Is CJ using his overtake? Because you could see how much battery he's got. He did use it out of turn 1 there. But on the run to turn 2, yeah, Polo's not gaining much, if any. You're right. Well, go back to the
Seems
Chungus Gagi battle now and see if there's any overtakes there. I don't think you'll see any
He's
from
like
CJ.
right at the start of the DRS straight. CJ uses a bit of overtake.
Oh, Pluto
He's that
spins out of
speed.
turn 3!
Pluto! Ooh.
And he hit the back of Chungus in the process right before that. Well, that was a weird spin. That was an auto spin right there. That's Pluto around it. You don't usually see that from Pluto, but you know what? That can happen with how comfortable it is to push.
Real mistake completely there.
Now it's Chungus, Jab, Matty, the running order between those guys with the Williams, Aston. Surfy needs one more invite.
Alright.
And Lojovic, 3-second time penalty once again. Now I think Paulo's close to it, 3/10. And CJ is just using that battery just to stay ahead. You know, I may think as well, you know, we mentioned the whole overtake process, the whole URS Lojovic pits, by the way. I think another thing to factor into this as well is a matter of the wings. I think CJ might be running a lot lower wings to where he'll be faster in the straight line, the straights. And Paulo may be running more of a wing to help him in the corners. So that may be something that we'll have to watch out for with these two later on.
DRS between Polo and CJ is pretty much 20% more Polo has.
And 3.6 that gap. So, I mean, you know what? They're pulling away from Joseph here.
Feels like if CJ wants to get quite a gap, maybe get out of DRS, he's going to have to use a lot of that overtake.
He will, but you also want some in case Paulo closes up, and he's got a
Yeah.
lot of batteries still out too, Paulo does.
He's got to find that balance.
You can see with the straight line speed setup CJ has, Paulo closes in the final 2 corners, but he just loses it right here. Watch how much he's going to lose if he doesn't use any battery. See what I mean? He doesn't gain much. He just gained a couple hundreds, but he overpushed the limit and goes wide at the exit of turn 1. Lost the
That's
rear
going
on
to help CJ.
re-entering, but yeah, exactly what I mean.
What was all the invites? I thought it's Surfy.
Surfy joined back. He joined back.
Oh, he joined back. Alright, cool.
Yep, he did.
Didn't see that.
Well, I mean,
Unlucky
even in,
for Surfy, though. Oh,
even-
well, that's massively wide by Logovic.
oh boy. Well, even I was gonna say, Joseph's gap to Gagi is 3.2, but the only thing I'm gonna factor in for Gagi that could help him is to switch to medium tires when the pit stops come, because that should be really soon. Who's going to undercut who? That can maybe make the difference between CJ and Polo here. Polo slid a little bit there, too.
Tiny bit of road confidence there as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we should see pit stops soon. I don't know how soon, but obviously the medium runners will pit first. And obviously Lojovic pitted last lap. I was thinking maybe Aaron Ocon could, but he's got a 3-second penalty, so you know he hasn't this time. We'll watch out for it in the next couple laps. I mean, the hards can last a decent bit, but you also want them to be fresher maybe. But you maybe also want to go for an undercut. Exactly, see what I mean? A lot of scenarios are put into these drivers' heads when making these choices. And now Chungus on the back of Gagi. This is for 4th place to the right side now. Inside line for turn 3. Opening the wheel a bit, forces him out just a bit wide, clips the curb. That's going to allow Jab to go side by side on the exit of turn 3. Easy move for Chungus. Jab also gets by, so that is a double. Williams overtake.
Another 3 seconds. How many time penalties was it? 12
seconds? 12, okay. Pluto, Riles, side by side, turn 4 this time. Pluto, the outside line, Riles still stuck on the inside line. Pluto is now clear Riles. And we're going to watch the top 2 to see if any of them hits. No, they do not. And another thing to factor in, because I saw CJ run wide there, may be track limits. That will be a thing to consider. Because only 2 drivers have penalties, but how many of these drivers are on 2 warnings and not trying to overpush the limit? Another thing to consider.
Has 1 and Polo also has 1.
Pitting is Aaron Ocon. Pitting is Riles. Pitting is Pluto. Early pit stop for Pluto, but he is going for the undercut in this case.
It may also be because maybe his tyres are a bit more worn than usual.
So it's a spin. Exactly, yup. You see what I mean? Jab also sticking behind Chungus. He's got Gagi and Matty in that train with Will and Lando also.
I think Polo's slightly clawing CJ in.
He's keeping CJ on his toes. He's making CJ think, you know what? You can use that battery all you want, but don't overuse it because, you know what? I've still got a lot left. And you know, he does. He's got 89%. And if I were Polo, I would use... If I were Polo or CJ, I'd use a lot more before entering the pits because you save a good 25%, I'm pretty sure, in the pit lane. A slide there from CJ, yep. And now this has allowed Polo to close up to about 4/10 now. A lap car in front of Rowdy getting lapped here. They'll probably get out of the way, but however, Polo, DRS this time. CJ a little bit of trouble in clipping the inside curve for turn 1. No ERS being used from Polo, ERS being used from CJ.
CJ's using a lot.
But he's still got a lot to manage though. And that may indicate that he's pitting this time.
Possible. He did use a lot of ERS there.
Because you can save from 20 to 25, maybe 30% at most if you're careful enough. You have to use the ERS if you want to.
About 50% with it.
Yeah, exactly. He knows. He knows you save ERS in the pit lane. Surfy, fastest lap right there.
Whoa! Polo got slide.
And now he's going to want to use it if he's pitting. And Surfy, that... what do you get? Fastest lap? Yeah, I thought it was a penalty, but I'm like, no, there's no penalty. Pluto behind Lojovic. Lojovic runs wide out of the exits. He's going to re-enter behind Pluto. You had to be careful not to run into the wall there. Both of them are, I think. No, CJ Justice, only him. There you go. So Polo's staying out. Now it's his opportunity to drain that battery. And I think he is. He is. CJ, Joseph, both pitting. Joseph has to get it in under 50. He did, just barely. No one else pitting from the looks of things so far. So we'll see where they come out compared to Pluto and Aaron. Yellow flags. That may be Lojovic.
Yeah, it was one pitch.
It is.
Well, we nearly lost it at that corner.
CJ on pit exit now is going to be ahead of Joseph, obviously, in the pit lane, but Joseph will be ahead of Aaron and Pluto, so that indicates that
CJ's getting his
had a good pit stops. Yeah, yep. Very good choice from him. But you got to be careful not to spin a course doing that. I've seen people spin from doing that. And Gagi almost running the back, a jab that time. He's got Matty Mumu for company as well. Pitting this time should be Polo, considering he's down to 38% on the battery. Holy cow. So he knew from losing that time, losing that time that he had to somehow find it back. And he did that by the battery. Pitting. Polo.
Is that battery usage going to maybe hinder him a bit?
So is it 38?
That's
Let's
a
see what it is
lot
at
of
pit exit.
usage.
Yeah, CJ's right now is almost full tank.
Pretty much 100.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, collision at the pit lane! Will Chromac and
What was that?
Lando spin and collide?
Okay.
And both of them, I think, were trying to enter the pits. Lando is pitting this time. Will has damage. Yeah, Lando is pitting. Polo God pits. Maddie pits. Polo God's on pit exit. Is he going to be ahead of CJ? He is on fresher tires. He's going to have to warm them up. He is ahead, though. By a lot, too. And CJ, 20% better
Yeah,
on
it's
the
got
battery.
20%. Yeah.
Matty Memo comes out of the pit lane ahead of Pluto, but behind Aaron. So now we're going to look to the front three who've yet to pit. They're really the only three who've yet to pit in this race so far.
Oh god, he's now warming up his tyres slightly.
He's going to have to, but he's going to have to keep CJ out of DRS here.
And by doing that, he's using even more URS.
Yeah,
that's
that could be a
quite a bit,
concern. Could be. Don't know if it will be, but it could be a concern.
That's what you see.
The top
Yeah,
three stay
again,
out.
neither of them have spotted this corner yet.
Lando gets by Will. They're side by side now. These two just recently collided. They both entered the pits together. They both exited the pits together. And now Will gets ahead. It's not beneficial at all to spin at the pit lane like they did. It was absolutely the last thing they needed.
I think CJ's lost 2/10 to Polo. Oh god, Polo is now on 50% ERS. He is using that quite a lot.
Just to keep CJ out of DRS too. He does have fresher tires, but I don't know
Is
if he
this
wants
really
to.
how bad the house is?
Oh, Aaron slid out of turn 3. Matty Momo, purple sector 1 there on the fresher medium tires. Here's Matty on the exit. I think gotta get ahead of Aaron. Aaron just pulls to the left side, lets him go. Easy contest. Front 3 stay out again. Yeah. Chat, give us your predictions.
CJ's
Top 3
losing
podium.
about
Who's it going to be at this
2/10.
point?
Yeah,
Yeah.
CJ's losing about 2/10 per lap. But he's going to get it back.
Polo's able to use a bit of ERS there, which also helped him pull away. Maybe that's how effective ERS he is here, too. That's another thing to consider.
Another time penalty for Ludovic.
Is that 15 now?
Yep.
15 seconds? Yeah, it is. Aaron's on 6, by the way, too, to inform you on that. Fastest lap, by the way, since we've been in the middle of cycling pit stops, has gone to Aaron Ocon. He is on the hard tires.
Did we start a new trend? How many penalties are the Ferrari drivers going to get in a single
Yeah, we used to do just Aaron. Now I think it's Ferrari, and now Lojovic is
yeah,
spun at pit
Lojovic's
exit.
around.
He may get disqualified if he stays there, though. He is moving now.
He's moving.
Aaron Ocon, Matty Mamu, side by side at turn 4. Matty Mamu ahead. How about the top 3? Do any of them pit? I think that's Jab who's going to pit. It is.
Yep.
Jab does pit. And I mean, I don't think too much with preseason. It's a big deal about keeping in the white lines a whole lot. I mean, yes, you still have to, but I don't think anybody's going to make a big deal about it with it being preseason.
Will and Lando are going at each other. Oh,
I mean,
Will banging.
oh. I mean, yeah, you'll be reminded, of course, but it's not going to be a big deal actually penalizing it for a preseason. Real season, though, yeah, it would be. Jab exiting the pit lane. Might be side by side with Pluto on pit exit. Here we go. Jab and Pluto. They are side by side. And Pluto ducking ahead. Jab with DRS. Pluto, I don't think, has it. And that is a spin for Ludovic. Jab backing off for the DRS. I think Pluto's trying to do the same. And Pluto does get the DRS. Or does he? Jab does. Pluto wheel bangs with Jab. And now Pluto ahead.
I can't tell if that was a game auto reset by Logovic or whether Logovic reset on his own.
He is pitting. He might have rear wing damage.
Oh,
He
he's
definitely
again.
does. He
Oh,
definitely does
okay.
now. Do the front 2 pit. Goggy is. Chung is staying out.
Okay, that had to be like self-reset that time, right?
Unless the game did it in the pit lane, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
Where's Goggy going to come out now? Where is he coming out? And how
I
long
think
does
it's
this
safe
take?
to say Logovic isn't used to the Ferrari.
Yes, but he has a little bit more potential, at least. That's the
Yeah.
good thing, maybe. Guggy coming out now. Going to be around Pluto and Jab. Will he be ahead?
CJ is
No.
now burning his URS in order to try and catch
Yeah, you
up.
can see the gap. It's changed. 1.4. They're on similar battery now.
Yeah.
Chungus stays out. Still,
Right.
there you go. Yeah. Jab Pluto now. And Jab is ahead. Now Pluto. Pluto with the DRS going to be open. Lando and Will still close to one another too. Out of turn number 1. Whoa. And yeah, no position trade between Will and Lando that time, but Jeb and Pluto still within DRS. Chungus pitting, staying out. Let's see. Pitting. There you have it. You know, another thing I'm so glad about is people always interpret the pit lane differently as well. Like with how to enter it and whatever. I'm glad with how tricky this pit lane is and everything else is also not in the real calendar because of that. And I think Chungus has just got slightly held up by Rowdy re-entering the pit lane right in front of him. That may have been a little bit of a stack up from Chungus. Cost him a couple of tenths. He's going to come out near Jeb and Pluto, but will he be ahead? No, definitely not a Jeb. Going to be behind Pluto, though. And he is on fresher tires than Pluto, for sure. Fastest lap, by the way, went to Jab. So now you got a train forming between Aaron on back. Right here.
Yellow flags.
That's Rowdy, I think, letting them go. He doesn't want to interfere. He knows the rules. He's read the rules. So, yeah. Yeah, that was my fault, completely forgetting about the whole deal with the waiting to ready up. I mean, I know I could sit here and say someone else could have reminded me or said something, but yeah, I mean, that's my fault for that. Anyway, Lando and Will going side by side and almost going into a collision. That was close. Jeez. Lando thinking about a dive. Can't do it, though. Will thinks about giving him room. Side by side on the exit of the corner. Going to be side by side. Neat little battle between these two after the spin. A little bit of pinching, though. Ooh. Now as they enter the double left, side by side, is Lando going to continue to pull this around the outside? He will for the time being. Will on that inside line right here. Side by side off the exit. They collide!
It seems like this is going to be gearing up to be a massive rivalry.
Oh,
Will
boy.
and Lando.
Jab and Aaron now. This is for 5th place. Jab on the fresher tires. Going through. And with ease, too. Chungus. Pluto. Pluto around the outside of Chungus. Chungus pinches. Ooh. Now Pluto having the DRS all the way down to turn 4. Chungus does not have the rear wing open. Pluto gonna go to the inside line though. Really pushing the limits to this battle. And now, side by side. Oh, they touched. They almost collide. And luckily they saved it. With everybody too. These two love a bit of wheel banging, but you know, everybody too. Everybody does today. Yeah. And that's closed Goggy in now, and they've really gone farther apart from Aaron and Jab now. Not beneficial, by the way.
Looking at the ERS burn from both of them front too. I think it's
gosh,
so difficult for CJ to catch up right now.
It's similar, yeah. You have to hope for a mistake at this point. If we're gonna say, and I'm just using an example because I know somebody will say it. Surely somebody will. If we say Polo is too fast for the Haas, there could be a consideration of, is CJ too fast for the Red Bull 2? Just putting that out there because I know what people said about Polo and the Haas. It's going to be a question. Well, we're finding out what people think now, truly, of it with the actual race on our hands. Guggy behind Pluto. Not thinking a move this time, though. A little too far back. Yeah, with the whole readying up thing, let me just explain this because between the time of waiting and then readying up, drivers will have 2 minutes, up to 2 minutes at most, a minute and a half, whatever, to fill with setups, whatever, do what they need to. And that's my fault for not reminding. I mean, I forgot about that. But that'll be the break period that they'll be able to have. That will be enforced in Mexico. I know I keep saying it, but we'll have to remember to get a reminder on that. Interview with the top 3 comes after this race with 8 laps left in their hand.
This has proven extremely difficult for CJ to catch up. He's burned through his ERS in order to catch up, and he's still got 5 tenths behind.
I'm sure Aaron's trying to do the same thing just to catch up back up to Jab. I mean, Chungus is caught back up to Aaron, but Pluto's not caught back up to Goggy. However, Goggy's caught back up to him and got side by side in turn 3. Bit of wheel banging. I think off the exit there, I think Pluto got ahead. Did not have the DRS. Goggy does have the DRS though. Quite equal in the straight line here because I think Pluto used a bit of DRS slightly. Couldn't tell. Inside line for Goggy. Goggy ahead. Nice little dive.
I just realised the URS difference between Aaron and Jab. Jab on 50, Aaron on like 10.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be harder for Aaron to catch up. The only thing I could see within the top 5 really drastically changing is maybe Maddie catching Joseph on the fresher medium tires.
Maybe Jab and Maddie switching.
Yeah, I mean, Jab does have a lot fresher tires. Aaron trying to use overtake now to catch up to Jab. Chung is thinking of something. He is making Aaron think here by the moment.
So far, it's seeming like Polo, unless some massive mistake happens, he may have a
Here comes Chungus on Aaron ahead of that, Maddie and Jab. Maddie's going to have the DRS, but Aaron on the inside line with Chungus. They collide! Ah, just a little misjudgment from Aaron, just right there. Oh, there's a spin! That's Goggy now. He was side by side with Pluto, and with that Chungus and Aaron spin, that's closed Pluto back up to a 3-car battle.
Polo is saving quite a bit of URS now. Well, in comparison to CJ.
Yeah, Jeb still has a decent bit left, too. I'm looking at everybody's ERS right now. Out of the top 5, Jeb has the most left. Out of the top 10, Jeb still has the most, and that's not even a whole lot either. So a lot of drivers having to use it from their battles, and now Goggy's troubles continue. Another spin there. At that corner, everybody gets caught out at.
Everybody but CJ and Polo, apparently.
Yeah, I guess. Well, Polo did in qualifying, to be fair. So.
Everyone except for CJ, then, I guess.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah. Here we go, Chungus Aaron once again. Chungus going to go to the inside line. Can he repeat what happened? He's going to try to go for a bold move. Aaron has to go off the racetrack, though.
Okay, you're trying to...
Oh, he might have rear wing damage now, I think. With that spin, could.
I don't think he has rear wing damage. I think he's trying to accelerate so much that his tyres are still hot.
Yeah, I was going to say, if he doesn't, that would be the case. Yeah, you're right. And Lando is out of the race in the pit lane. I think he may have had to leave early.
Tired. Yep, Goggy's gone wide. Is his tyres
His troubles
still...
continue.
Right. Surely he's got a call on this straight.
Well, this time we're coming to 6 laps remaining. Lando, that's it for him. McLaren boys who started off so strong in qualifying.
I'm thinking Goggy has slight rear wing damage. He keeps going wide or something.
Yeah.
He's spinning.
Yeah, he's probably trying to just get it home. Maybe be ahead of Rowdy, you know, whatever. He can retire in the pit lane with the rear wing damage, just to put that out there if he does not now. Because that is considered a valid reason.
That doesn't seem like rear wing damage. It just seems like misjudging braking, like tyres still being too hot, or grass.
It's tough to tell. It is tough to tell considering this game does have rear wing damage now with everything else compared to last game, but, you know, still, it's...
It also doesn't help that like the rear wing damage is really hard to tell from spectating.
Yeah, exactly. You can't tell in spectating. Well, let's go through the position.
More obvious.
Yeah, let's go through the positions gained throughout this whole race. Joseph started 3rd. He could finish 3rd. CJ started pole, could finish 2nd. Polo started 6th, could finish 1st. Jab started 12th, could finish 4th, and Matty Memo, who started 13th, or sorry, 14th, could finish 5th. So, a lot of positions gained from the back markers. Goggy pitting, and I think this may be a retirement. Maybe
I think
not.
He's still going.
Maybe.
I think he's going to soft.
Well,
Yeah,
why not go
soft.
for a fast lap? Might be preseason, but let's see what you got in this Alfa Romeo.
Let's see if that fixes his spinning issues.
And
Yeah,
another
his
thing as
tyres
well,
gonna be
I
hot.
mentioned that could happen by the end of this race is the closing gap between Jab and Joseph. It's down to 1.5. It's not enough for DRS, but if Joseph makes a
I've only
mistake, it at
just
least
realised.
opens it for DRS. It at least does if there's a mistake. So, you know,
Polo is now
There's
just
that.
eating through all of his ERS as well.
yeah, they're equal in ERS at this point.
Oh! Polo's lost it.
Oh my goodness! From the lead! And it happened again! He has binned it! In the moment where he could have took a win in preseason, and in all my leagues combined, he'd have a 70 race gap to get the first win. Even though it's preseason, today will not be the day. He's gonna have to wait another race. And that is unfortunate for Polo God. He goes back to 5th and off the podium. And now with DRS enabled for Jab, we've got a battle for the podium.
I was thinking that obviously Polo was saving his URS a bit. So I was thinking maybe he made a mistake somewhere. That's why he got into his URS, and then well, he definitely made a mistake there.
I thought CJ may have spun there because he had a slide at the same corner too, because he lost about a 10th before Polo spun. But then Polo spun. It must have been on the right side where if you clip that curb, you ride it with your tires a little too much, it just auto spins you. And I think that's maybe what happened to Polo. A lot of drivers spin on the left side. Polo did on the right side.
Yeah, yeah, he was on the right side because CC when he saw Polo around, he sort of. I think it looked like he panicked a bit because he didn't know if the car was going to ghost.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, at this rate, CJ's probably just thinking, we got a 6-second lead. We could just get it home. Just get it home to the victory. You know, do whatever you can. Yellow
Talking
flags.
about getting it home.
Yeah. Gaggy needs to as well. It's
wing.
unfortunate. It's unfortunate for him. And you know what? There's been no safety car. This whole race is played out. It might be boring to some people. Oh my God, the field isn't closed up. But you know what? It's really able to tell who's able to put together a full race. And last time when CJ raced in Australia and Saudi Arabia, he couldn't put together a full race. His best finish was 10th. He's going to end off here with likely a points finish if he can keep it in the race. But no points are awarded in preseason. It would be a top 10 then. So
I love that.
It is what it is. Here's Jab. Now on the back of Joseph.
Finish, even though he can't get points.
Well, it would be. In a regular season race, in a non-preseason event, it would be. So, you know, with CJ, he's got to be happy with himself. He's got to be delighted to be leading, but he has to be careful just be consistent, get the car home, just not make any mistakes. And we saw Paulo do that.
There's no way he can lose like 6.5 seconds in 2 laps.
He could take it easy still, and you know, it'd be down to 2 seconds.
Very easy.
It'd be 2 seconds, and that's okay for him.
Yeah. As long as he doesn't get penalties and stuff, he could take it. He's using ERS. He's still pushing.
Right. He could do a little dance across the finish line if he wanted to. So, you know. Here's Jab. Joseph also, as we enter the penultimate lap, trying to still battle out for 2nd place. Matty and Paulo trying to catch for 3rd place. And I still do not think it's out of the conversation that something could still happen in these final laps, whether it be a collision, whether it be position changes. However, there's a penalty for Aaron Ocon. That is, I believe, 9 seconds now added to his name. It is. And yeah, CJ's pulled a bit more of a gap, but again, he could just take it easy to get it home.
These Ferrari guys are having a battle and who can get the most pens.
Yeah, I mean, nonetheless, CJ has to be happy with himself, and I think it is great, as he does lose time there because he was trying to take it carefully, but I think the thing for him, though, is this shows, I mean, obviously he had the struggles with unluckiness at whatever it was when trying to contend for the GSR Tier 4 title, but the thing is, though, it shows he's able to put together a full race. As Chungus picks up a penalty, he kept it penalty-free. He's not spun, really. I can't really say he has spun. He might have had a little collision with somebody, I think, or like a little bit of contact, but, you know, he's able to put together a full race to where, like, look at Polo. He spun out a couple laps to go. He wasn't able to put together the full race. It shows CJ his potential, but speaking of potential, Polo could get the potential on turn 3, side by side. Last lap, last chance for a dive, and Polo has tried it. Now this may be his last opportunity on Matty for 4th place in this. Left side, right side, where does he go? We're on the outside this time. Still trying for a move at turn 4. Matty's going to pinch just a little. Polo got still side by side on the exit of turn 4. These two are going to be wheel to wheel on the double left. Can they keep it like this? Side by side once again. The 3-second time penalty has been handed to Will. And now Polo on the inside line now. And Matty has to yield. CJ took a little break in the league. Did only 2 races, 1 point to his name. And now he comes back, goes to Red Bull. He will win preseason. And now, behind that,
close to smashing into the wall there.
Polo, Matty, Chungus, a little dance to the finish line between them, with places almost being traded. Jab and Joseph complete the podium. What a battle. What a good overall race. And Aaron loses out on 7th place with those
other
penalties.
than the start where he seems to get like quite a not like a terrible start, but compared to Joseph and Polo, he didn't get the best start. Other than that, I'd say CJ didn't really make a mistake at all that tire race.
Yeah, and you know what? It has to be said that there are still flaws for him. There are still flaws, but a decent gap. Maybe, you know what, if any driver you can argue about getting lucky or whatever, having the competition blown out by spinning, but he was the one who was able to keep it on track. And speaking about keeping it on track, you have Goggy coming to the finish, trying to keep it on track. Maybe, maybe not. Don't know. Anyways, comes to the finish line, Goggy.
Goggy just managed to get it home and now he's doing donuts.
He was able to 360 that quite well, I must say. But, you know, he was able to have good pace throughout Goggy as well. It shows his potential, but the issue with Goggy, and it's happened constantly throughout time, is just putting together that race that he's needed to put together. He can't do it. And, you know what?
Just two crashed cars in the middle of the road.
all yellow flags. All yellow flags. All right, then. Well, that is it, then, with them. I think Joseph mentioned he had to go, so I think this will be it. And, yeah, we've got a car park in the front straightaway. There you go. How about that? Well, pretty nice battle at the front of the field. Pretty nice battle throughout the whole field. I think we're pretty happy with that.
Lovely.
Well, you could tell Chungus and Pluto aren't too happy with their battle because they had a lot of contact in their battle. And they're going to talk that out. But anyway, onto our podium finishers. You have CJ, Joseph, and Jab completing the preseason podium. You know, I must say, the last 2 times at Austria, the Red Bull's undefeated. So, you know what? That's a quite a nice stat to have. We'll start off with you, Jeb. 3rd place, 12th in the grid.
Nope.
Getting used to the Williams again. How did you feel throughout the whole time with the battles? I know you're around Pluto and Maddie quite a bit. You were able to be near Joseph toward the end. You were able to really extend your tires quite a bit and have a good strategy to get yourself onto this podium. How'd you feel?
Early on, I was slightly struggling, but obviously we're into the URS, so it really didn't matter. And I soon got more and more comfortable. It was kind of wasn't really fully on the limit, but just trying to bring it home because I saw a bunch of people spinning, and I could have got Joseph, but then just a little bit too patient. I could have went for the max step and dive, but it's preseason, don't want to make enemies too early, but I'll get used to this Williams, and we'll see how the season goes.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? How do you feel about the battling you saw today entering Mexico? I mean, obviously Mexico could potentially be a 2-stop race. It could be a race where it is harder to overtake compared to this race. However, you were able to do so from 12th in the grid, getting the podium. How are you feeling entering Mexico? Do you think your chance for a first title, getting better than 2nd in the championship, is possible?
Obviously Mexico. I just gotta avoid getting track limits. If I can avoid doing that, because that middle set is kind of a wheel orientated sector.
Bless you.
Oh, geez, you could bless you.
Oh, don't worry, that's me too.
Yeah, but I don't know. The strategy's gonna be a major part of it. If I do the right one, then it doesn't matter what I do in that middle sector. I can come out on top.
Congratulations on the podium. Burning Man, any questions?
Well, I just I wasn't able to really catch many of your battles because I was trying to concentrate on the front two because they were really close to each other. I didn't really see how you made many overtakes. Like, were they dives? Were they just waiting for mistakes?
Mostly just setting them up for the exit, just saving a bunch of URS,
Mm.
and then most of us were just getting better exits really. Then using the URS, just draining it, and then got the move done before I even got the. Even though it's really turn 3, it's turn 2. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's where all my moves were really made. Just got a good exit,
Okay.
dumped the URS, and then got right by him.
Okay, cool. Well, well done. You did good.
Thank you.
CJ,
Good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
race win in preseason. Last season, the 2 starts you did were not great. I mean, you got the points finish in Australia. That was a chaotic race to begin with. You were not comfortable at Saudi Arabia. You went a lap down to make a comeback into the league in a more comfortable car for you in the Red Bull. Win preseason. What do you think that shows you coming back to the league and your chances at having a decent amount of chances for race wins or even podiums?
I think I'm only going to compete for podiums, to be fair, because I struggled with Calm and Joseph at the start, because I only just stick with Joseph, and then I struggled with Polo. So I don't know if it was just track specific and me not having a lot of confidence through the middle part. But I think I'll be up there. I just don't know if it'll be consistently race wins, and it'll be podiums for sure, I reckon.
Yeah, now talk to me about your battle with Polo God. I mean, you kept seeing so many cars in front of you spin out of the race lead. Well, really, everybody did spin out of the race lead who were in front of you. But when you kept seeing cars spin through there, what was going through your mind? Especially throughout the last couple laps, you knew, hey, I just have to get it easily home. But what about before then? When you saw the 2 cars spin in that same exact corner, were you having troubles there too? Or was it just them?
Totally, I think it was just them, but I was being a lot more cautious after I saw, I think it was Joseph. After Joseph went off, I went really cautious because I didn't want to spin off. I was happy with second at that point. So I thought I'd just stick quite cautious through that section and then push everywhere else, hope to get him in the straight line. That just didn't happen. But once I got past, and I just cruised, I think, through every corner just to make sure. Didn't want to take any risks.
Yeah, I mean, Joe last season won the race. You've won preseason with the Red Bull. I mean, it's quite a nice car to win preseason with, or really at this track with, considering it's called the Red Bull Ring. But as for coming back to league racing, you've installed the game. I mean, you installed the game again. You felt like you got faster. Speak to me about the battles you had today and just the atmosphere of coming back to league racing. I know these races are a bit longer than the ones you're used to, but how did you feel coming back?
I don't know, I felt quite confident, but I don't know, I was still very cautious with the car because I still don't feel I'm used to it. So I was racing on ACC quite a bit when I didn't have the game. But I felt faster because I'm not sure what it was I picked up from ACC, but I just seemed to improve quite a bit. But I can't remember. What was the question again? I completely forgot. Sorry.
Don't worry, I don't know either. Oh yeah, how
That's great.
yeah, we'll ignore it. I don't even remember.
I love that.
I don't know. Don't worry.
I'm pretty sure it was
It's okay.
how do you feel coming back to the game, like feeling faster and all that?
At least
Pretty sure
someone
that was
knows.
the
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel a lot more confident than I was originally, like on my first stint on the game. It's just a bit annoying that the game sort of, I don't know what happened, it corrupted itself or something. So it's annoying I missed out on about 3 months of racing, but it's good to be back on it because I feel it's probably the simulator I'm most suited with, so it's quite nice.
And the season itself. Next week we start Mexico, Brazil, Saudi Arabia. We're not going to continue to name the tracks. We did that earlier. The point I was going to make is the tracks you see on the calendar for the season, the race you had today. How much are you looking forward to the season?
I'm looking forward to it quite a bit because I've shown myself to be at least midfield, so I'm looking forward to the battles. Sorry. Fuck. But
Don't worry,
yeah, I'm
we're all
looking
sick, I
forward
think.
to it. Yeah, just looking forward to the whole thing. Just getting back into league racing. It's having a full season under the belt, competitive racing. It's hoping to get some podiums. I don't think I'm going to target wins every race. Maybe only a select few.
Yeah, most definitely.
I just don't.
Congratulations. Go ahead.
Cheers.
Sorry. Congratulations.
No, it's
Burning Man,
alright.
any questions?
No, you asked a lot of questions actually, but yeah, no, I don't. Just well done, obviously.
Yeah,
Congrats.
thanks.
You just seem really consistent. From what I've seen, you didn't really make many mistakes, if any.
I think I made one just as Polo spun. I panicked, so I stayed to the curb and then I
Yeah, I
nearly
wouldn't
spun
really
off
say it
that.
was a mistake though, because it seemed like you panicked
Mm,
seeing Polo spin.
yeah, yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point.
Anyway,
Yeah, well
Burning.
done.
Anyway, Burning Man, I was gonna say, we start the season next week, but we don't start the season without picking any favorites here, and a lot more will be picked in the journalist notes with the week
Oh,
to
love
come.
courtroom
But
drama.
yeah, right. I know, I did too. Do I? No. Anyway, the point I was gonna make with you is predictions for the season, and there's a lot that we could try to predict that we might not even be accurate with. I wasn't even accurate about who was going to be on the front row or whatever. Sorry, CJ, I doubted you. But, you
Nice.
know, there's a lot of big questions. And now with preseason done and racecraft being done, we got a couple of our questions answered. Um, First question for you, Burnham, and our first thing to predict is a matter of Mexico. Who are going to be the favorites entering Mexico at this point?
Oh, I believe in CJ supremacy. I mean, come on. After seeing CJ today, I
Yeah.
believe in CJ.
Yeah.
Then obviously, Jab did
sorry.
a really good recovery, so can't ignore Jab. So,
Yeah.
Jab, CJ,
Yeah.
Polo.
That's
Basically,
that's
just
yeah.
the top 3, 4, 5-ish.
Yeah. I mean, for me, if you qualify well, you have a good chance. And Mexico, yes, I think this is going to be the most important run down to turn one that you've seen in this league yet. I mean, Italy,
Just don't die at the
yeah,
S's.
yeah, oh, yeah, that too. But you have your usual run down to turn one at Italy, but this one's going to be more important than Italy, in my own opinion. So, if you qualify well, I think you'll have a chance. But for people I'm thinking, I think of Jab. He ran well today. He recovered well. I think I'll even put Matty Mamu in there. He still ran great in the Aston Martin, even with, qualifying bad. He's still contender for the podium. Put Polo in there, CJ, and I'll add in Chungus because of preseason there. But there's a lot to look forward to in Mexico, in my opinion. Now the championship itself, I'm not wanting to say how many drivers, or sorry, I'm not wanting to say who the drivers would be, but I'm wanting to say how many drivers are we going to see compete for this championship this season. Because honestly, with how close, yes, like Jeb said, I think it was, Austria is meant to be close, but we were pretty close in qualifying compared to last season. Regardless of drivers were pushing 100% or not, I think we saw quite close qualifyings with Q1 to Q2 to Q3. And that does make us think how many people are going to contend for the championship this season. Burning Man.
Sorry, yeah.
I
You said how
go
many
ahead.
people do you think
How many
is
people?
gonna...
Yeah. How many people? Yeah.
I would say Polo, but coming at a risk of sounding like an arsehole and trying to cause drama, which is what I love to do anyway. It feels like he's quite easily to spin at
Yeah.
corners,
Potential is there. We know that.
but obviously he has potential. I reckon he could end if
How
he...
many? How many do you think? How many number wise? How many
How
number
many?
wise? I think we could see what we
Gotta
saw in season
say
2 and up to 4. In my opinion, we could see up to 4
Jab,
by the end of the season.
Joseph. CJ stays consistent. CJ, yeah, maybe fourth.
I think
Four,
there's
five people.
maybe a potential for 5 depending on how things work out.
Yeah.
But that's for time to tell. We'll find out.
Or 5, I'd say.
Yeah. Surely at least 2. We'll have a championship battle with how close this field is, surely. But, again, this is just right now. Only time will tell. We say that every season too. But, Mexico, next week, our season opener, January 15th, 12 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. UK. Tune in for the action then. I'm your commentator, Ryan Ocon31, and Burning Man alongside me. Until next time, have a good one, folks.
Goodbye.